Hello scholars, welcome back to the Kemet Maasai Academy. This is our series of student motivational videos. Student motivation. Alright, so I'm reading from the Student's Master Plan, and this is a compilation of passages geared towards motivating students of all ages. Students of all ages, because as this very book says, we are all students of life and we are all students for life. So this passage that I'm going to read now is called A Different Education. Some people believe that an education simply means acquiring enough skills and knowledge to be able to get good employment and afford the nicer things in life. Some people believe that simply completing high school or getting a university degree automatically means that they are educated. But that is just being trained. Education involves a whole lot more than acquiring skills and memorizing a whole bunch of facts. The dictionary describes education as having received intellectual, moral, and social instruction. But even that is not enough. In today's competitive world, humans constantly have to raise their standards just to stay on the cutting edge. And education would equip you with survival skills so you can cope in an ever-changing world. An educated person does not simply listen, take notes, swat, and regurgitate what he or she has been taught. In addition to that, an educated person will think about what he or she has been taught, analyze it carefully, question it to see if it makes sense, and is in compliance with the natural facts of life. An educated person is not afraid to ask difficult questions, to challenge the so-called facts, not in a rude, disrespectful way, but with humility and consideration. An educated person is able to take what he or she has learned and apply it so that entirely new and different problems can be solved. You should be able to see the connection between the different subject areas that you study and to use the rules of one area to solve problems in another area. An educated individual is able to see the whole picture rather than small, disconnected pieces of the frame. You should practice reading between the lines, linking ideas and building bridges where once there were gaps. The regular school system has failed to really educate students. It has done well to train many people who are able to reel off long-winded facts and figures, so-called facts and figures, but are unable to connect them to reality or use them to solve new problems that life presents. The trained person may know who, when, where, and what happened. The educated person will be interested in knowing how it happened, why it is that way, or why not. Trained individuals may know how to keep the car going down the straight and narrow road. But it is the educated people of this world who chart new courses and blaze new trails, accomplishing feats which were once thought to be impossible. I am interested in educating my students, not training them. Students should take the opportunity to ask questions, to respectfully challenge the established theories, and request proof for the established facts. Don't be a blind follower. Don't do something just because everyone else is doing it. Don't accept that there can be only one or two ways to get a particular thing done. Think out of the box. Push the limits, and the universe will open up to you. Okay? So that's a powerful message. A different education is necessary in this time. So at our school, the Kemet Maasai Academy, we have a different approach to the mainstream approach, which I think the mainstream approach is about rote learning. It's about remembering things, memorizing things. And it's like you're locked into this way. It's just one way of doing it. I believe though that some aspects of mainstream education reform is coming. I know in our system in Jamaica, because I've been exposed at the teachers' college, at certain teachers' colleges, I know for a fact that reform is coming, and they're really trying to have a new approach to education, the conceptual approach, getting students to learn the concept of the thing, getting students to be engaged in acquiring the knowledge. So it's like learning is through experience, doing the thing, becoming a part of the thing, and then you automatically remember it because you were part of leading, you were a part of the process of the knowledge, as opposed to just being told this is that is that, remember it. No. Some aspect of rote is necessary in learning. We can't do without rote. It's not like we can just say away with rote learning. Some aspects of drill and memory, of course, they are needed in learning. We can't do without them actually. However, they should not be the sole method or the main method even. The main thing should be to get students to experience the learning, to be a part of the gaining of the knowledge. So not just to tell them what the formula is, to show them how the formula was derived, to show them how the formula can be proven, to bring in real life applications to whatever the topic is, whether it's mathematics, science, history, geography, social studies, any topic. Because students often ask, and especially in mathematics, why am I learning this? How am I going to apply this to my life? And adults joke about it, okay, I'm 32, I still have not used simultaneous equations, right? I'm 40 years old, I still have not learned why I needed to do X, Y, Z. However, I always say, okay, even if you are saying you have not used it, other people use it to make the things that you use. The person who made or was part of the team who made the cell phone and the computer and the car and the washing machine and the television, they use the simultaneous equation and the graphs and plotting stuff and finding the probability of this and that. They use it every day in order to make these things that you use. And how did they know that they wanted to go that route to the point where they are using this every day? How did they know? Because they were exposed to these things in the levels of learning coming up, and they decided this is where I want to focus. So you need to be exposed to what is there, and then you narrow your field of endeavor based on your passion. So there's that. You're not going to know that you like this if you're not exposed to it. So we expose everyone to all the subjects and to the different topics so that you can see what is your niche. However, apart from that, there is real life application. And if we can show the students what these real life applications are while they are learning the topic, while we're teaching them the formula, show them how it was derived and how it's applied to everyday situations, then they will be more appreciative of it, right? So we definitely must have a different approach to teaching and learning. You know, we definitely must get the students more involved in their own learning. Use props, bring in things, real life items, everyday items from the household, bring it into the classroom and show them how these things are applied to everyday life, right? And remember, knowledge is not just book, as the old folk would say, book learning. It's not just book learning. There's something called mother wit. Mother wit. And there's something called the University of Hard Knocks. So we bring to the classroom everything that we learn from the books as well as from our experiences in the world, our experiences with our peers, our experiences with our friends on the bus, in the supermarket. We bring all of that. That becomes a part of our collective consciousness in the classroom that we use to expand our horizons. Because as a teacher, I learn from my students every day. And I am never one to pretend that I know everything. And my students know if I'm at the board and you hear me saying what you think is nonsense, you need to raise your hand and point it out to me in a respectful way. Ask me, Miss, are you sure? Ask me to explain. Say, Miss, I think you may be wrong. I think this is what it is. Or I've been exposed to this information that is contrary to what you are saying. Can we discuss it? I encourage my students to have an open mind and to think for themselves. That to me is the most important thing. The educated mind is able to think for itself and to come to its own conclusions based on the information that's generally available to all of us. We are exposed to the information. You must internalize that and come to your conclusion. It doesn't matter what the teacher says, what the pastor says, what mommy and daddy say, what the prime minister says. It must make sense to you, and if it doesn't, you must say that it doesn't, and you must say why, and you must seek clarification. You must find out what other persons are saying about the thing. Find out what many people are saying from different perspectives about this same thing. And then you evaluate it and you see if it's for you and if it's something you're going to accept. You don't have to accept everything that someone in authority tells you. And I always say to my students, facts change. Things that are taught to you and said, this is the fact. I told my students when I was coming up, there were 4 oceans. Now we're told there are 5. Right? There were 9 planets. Now we're told there are 8. So, and tons of different things have changed. The so-called facts are not set in stone. As a species, we are evolving and we're learning new things. And as we learn new things, we must be able and willing to throw out what no longer works. If it doesn't work, if it's no longer solving our problems, or if it has never solved our problems, we must come to the point where we say, we need to find a new way. Not just to do it because of this, for the sake of tradition, for the sake of dogma, for the sake of because someone in authority says so. So my students are encouraged to think for themselves and to respectfully correct me if I am saying what they believe to be utter nonsense. Right. So I'll leave you with that today. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to do so. I encourage you to share these motivational videos so that students, parents, teachers can all be motivated and come into the classroom with passion, drive, and a willingness to learn in an open environment, an environment that fosters intellectual, you know, my uncle always say iron sharpened iron. So we must be willing to do that, to sharpen each other. So my scholars, I'll see you in the next video.